If you love a classic berry lip and a bronzy glow, this drugstore look delivers luxury without the luxury price tag. Stick around to see how I did it. So this morning's mission, should you choose to accept it, is to create a festive leaning bronze and berry themed makeup look using only drugstore, and it needs to be suitable for mature skin. So I have been shopping in my local Superdrug, and I've got quite a range of drugstore products here in kind of bronze and berry tones, and I think we can make this work on my mature skin. So without further ado, let's get stuck straight into it with the foundation. Now, I was hoping to have a choice of foundations. I was hoping to be able to choose between the NYX Bear With Me Blur and the ELF Soft Glam. Unfortunately, the ELF Soft Glam, I'm really struggling to find a colour that works for me. I'm certain I've used a medium before and it was far too dark. So this time I went with the Fair Warm. Oh, Fair Warm. There is a light warm. Okay, so the Fair Warm, it's turned out, is much too light. I think I'd meant to buy the light warm or the light neutral or even the light cool. But I've got the Fair Warm, so unfortunately that's far too light for me, and we are going to have to go with the NYX Bear With Me Blur in 4 Light Neutral. So that's the foundation we are going to go with this morning for our drugstore look. So this is the NYX Bear With Me Blur foundation in light neutral. I am going to be cautious with it because I've been caught out, I think, by this foundation before. If you go in with too much right up front, then it's a struggle to blend it out. So it's actually surprising how little of this foundation you need for the coverage. I've kind of squeezed a pump out onto my palette here, but you can see I'm only really dabbling into the corner of it, and already I've got quite a thick coverage of foundation on my face. This is actually one of my favourite drugstore foundations. Some of the ones that have been around for a longer time, the classic kind of, you know, L'Oreal, Rimmel, Maybelline, all of those, I just can't get on with them. I find that they leave my skin really lumpy looking, actually, and really the foundation lays down in a really sort of strange and obvious way. So I'm really enjoying this kind of new breed of foundations from the likes of NYX and ELF. I think they're more modern formulations, to be honest, and they look a lot more like the luxury foundations. I know a lot of people swear by things like L'Oreal, but I haven't had such good results with those ones. So anyway, this is how the NYX is going on. I think this is looking actually really good, and even this shade is okay for me. Light neutral, I think was it light neutral? Yeah, light neutral 4. I think this is okay. I always struggle a little bit with foundation shades. They always either look a little bit too light or a little bit too dark. Seems almost impossible to get a match that is dead on to your skin tone. But I think this is looking quite good. I just want to take it down my neck a little bit. I have this discoloration down my neck here that if I am trying to make a serious kind of makeup look, I try to cover this up. I can't actually see round the corner in the mirror for myself, so I'll just have to hope and pray that that has covered it to some extent. But there we go. I haven't actually put very much on, so I've squeezed, you know, a fairly decent sized blob, and then I've kind of dipped into the edge of it with this. I haven't gone full in like I sometimes do and picked up it all, and I think this is looking quite nice. So the coverage it says it gives you is medium coverage with a matte blurred finish. And I would agree, I think it has given me a matte finish. I don't think I'm going to use a powder. I think that might be overkill. It's certainly matte, and it certainly has a sort of blurred effect. I'm really pleased with that. So for bronzer, I've actually got 4 different bronzer options here. So I've got to sort of spend a little bit of time looking at these and deciding which one or ones I want to go with. We have the Studio London, we have this one from Makeup Academy, I've got one from NYX and one from ELF. So I've swatched the 4 bronzers on my hand, and actually we've got quite a range of shades here, haven't we? This is the ELF Putty Bronzer, this is the Studio London, this one is the MUA, and this one is the NYX. And it's NYX in the shade All Buttered Up. And you can see they're increasingly going from a sort of orangey brown and through to more red shaded. Which is interesting because I've used this ELF one before and I've really liked it. But I think these 3 are looking a bit red and maybe a better match with my skin tone actually. I'm going to start off with this NYX one. I've actually picked up rather a lot on the brush. I'm going to go around my face, but it is looking rather heavy at the top there. But this is the NYX bronzer in the shade All Buttered Up. So that's our bronzer done with the NYX Buttermelt Bronzer, All Buttered Up. It's got a fairly reddish shade to it, which I think is rather nice. And it definitely takes it out of this kind of drugstore category and into the more luxurious looking makeup end, I would say. I'm pretty pleased with that shade. So next up is our eyes, and I'm rather looking forward to this because I have a selection of L'Oreal eyeshadow pencils to try out. I have this jumbo eye pencil from NYX, and I have another range of kind of brown and bronze eye pencils from L'Oreal and Studio London and NYX. And I also have this metallic eyeshadow from ELF. So I'm looking to achieve a kind of gold bronze themed eye. I am looking to try and go in quite heavy and make it fairly glam, fairly festive. I'm really looking forward to trying these eyeshadow sticks. I'm going to go first in with this one that's a sort of a putty shade, and then I'm going to kind of define the eye look with this light gold and then a darker bronze as well. This is fairly creamy going on actually, it's rather nice. I worry about shadow sticks being a bit too dry and not kind of spreading around on the eye. But actually these feel quite creamy so far. That's going on quite nice, it feels quite wet. I am going to get a brush out, I think, to blend that in. I think this is a really flattering shade. This is in the shade 245 Alluring Rose. It does dry down fairly quickly, so I am feeling it start to dry already. So this is a more golden shade, I would say. It's called Twinkly Rose, and I'm just going to try and go on the inner corner of the eye to create some shimmer here with a light shade. And let's see if there is some time to blend this one out. Again, it's drying down fairly fast, but there is a little bit of manoeuvrability, more so than with the, I think it was a Lancome eye liquid shadow I used recently, and that did not budge once you put it on. That was that. Okay, that's looking quite nice. And then I have this darker shade in Magnetic Bronze. These are, by the way, these are the L'Oreal Le Shadow Stick. Let's go around the outer corner of the eyelid with this one. And let's blend that in while we still can. Okay, that's nice. I'm going to go underneath the eye with this bronze one. And then just blend that in and join it up to the top eyeshadow. Okay, so that's looking pretty nice, pretty wearable actually with our 3 eyeshadow sticks. I do have some eyeliners as well to test. So I have the shade Bronzed Espresso from L'Oreal in the Infallible gel automatic eyeliner range. From NYX in the eyeliner stick, I have Deepest Brown, and then in the Studio London Precision eyeliner, I have this in the shade Extra Bronze. I'm going to start with the lightest one, Extra Bronze. I'm just going along the lower lash line to bring a bit more of a bronzy shade to the lower lash. I'm taking this along the upper lash. This is the Studio London one. This is feeling like it's quite a hard pencil, whereas I think the other two I'm going to use are much softer. So it'll be interesting to see if the effect is different. This is the lighter shade though, so I'm just trying to create a bit of a kind of bronze halo around the lash area with this one before I go in with a darker line more close to the lashes. I think I might try and blend that out a little and use some of the, no, that's the putty one, use some of this bronzed eyeshadow to blend that out. So this is the L'Oreal Infallible Automatic Gel Liner in the shade Bronzed Espresso. I've been looking forward to using this one. Well, actually, let me just swatch it for you. This is really soft and I really like the colour of that. So I've been looking forward to using that one. Don't seem to be focusing on it, do you? So I'm progressively getting darker along this lash line because I can't tolerate a black eye pencil, so I'm increasingly getting a bit darker with these bronzy shades until I get the level of definition that I'm looking for. And this is starting to look rather nice and dark near the lash line. Now with this darker shade, I'm only going to put it in the centre of the lower lash, because if I put too much dark on this outer corner here, it emphasises, I've got a slight droop on the outer edges and I don't want to over-emphasise that today, although sometimes that can look nice. I noticed that Sydney Sweeney, the actress, has got drooping eyes and she really emphasises that with a lot of eyeliner. But I'm just going to go slightly darker in the centre here, and I might even take this up a little bit more inside here. Yeah, and I'm going to go towards the centre actually to give us a bit more eye definition. Okay, I think that's looking nice. So I do have this eye pencil from NYX in Deepest Brown. This says it is eyeliner stick in Epic Wear, and I'm just going to tight line the upper lashes with this one. I'm just going to lighten up the inner lid with some more of this. I feel like it's gotten a little bit lost with the darker shades, so I'm just going to bring some more lightness and shine back into the picture with the lighter one, and then just gently blend that in. Right, now let's look at our cheeks. Like I said, I'm going for a sort of bronzy berry effect, so I've got some berry shaded lip products to show you. Maybe we'll swatch a few of them before we go in on the cheeks so we can find the right shade. So I seem to like to buy my blushes in pairs, and I have a few pairs of blushes to show you. I have a couple from L'Oreal in Le Blush, and then I have a couple of shades from Studio London in the Flawless Blusher, and then I have a couple of shades from Elf in the Camo Blush, and then I do also have a couple of Lumi Liquid Blush from L'Oreal, and they're much orangier and bronzier, and they have some sparkle in them as well. So I've got kind of 8 blushes to play with. Let's swatch them on my hand and decide which ones we want to go with. So these 2 swatches here are the L'Oreal Le Blush. These 2 swatches are the Studio London Flawless. These 2 blushes are the Elf Liquid Camo Blush. And these two swatches are the L'Oreal Lumi Le Liquid Blush. So you can see I've got a pretty decent range of shades, stretching from the kind of more natural, more neutral, more rosy. Then we've got some kind of a warm and a cool pairing here and here. And then we've got these two much brighter, orangier shades. So personally, I rather like mixing a warm shade and a cool shade together. So I'm kind of torn here. I actually don't know which ones I want to go with. So, and these are all of different consistencies actually. So here we have powder, and then we have a kind of a jelly, kind of, I don't know what's called that. It's like a solid liquid. Here we have an actual liquid, and then again we have liquid. So I'm inclined to start with some powder and then work my way up to the more liquid blushes. Obviously we can't use all of these, but I don't see why I can't use 2 or 3 of them. Okay, I'm going to start with the L'Oreal Le Blush. The shade I've picked is the slightly darker one, and this is Rosewood. Yeah, I think that's quite nice. It fits quite well with our bronzy theme, but I am keen to bring some berry shades in here. So I do want to be brave and bring a slightly berry toned blush in here. This is in the shade Embrace. And with it being a kind of a cream sort of texture, and with it being cream texture, I am going to go in with my finger so as to avoid doing my usual trick, which is using a brush and going in far too hard. Especially with these berry shades, which can be quite vivid on my skin. So I have to be a little bit cautious with the berry tones because they seem to show up really strongly on my complexion. And I don't know about you, but I think these drugstore products look as every bit as good as any luxury product. I think as long as you take your time, you pick the right products and you apply them well, you don't have to spend a lot of money for a good quality result. And I'm going to apply this tiniest amount of highlight with the L'Oreal Lumi, and this is in the shade Glowy Gold Pink. I'm effectively treating this like a highlighter, so I'm going to be very careful with it, but I just want the slightest bronzy glow on my cheeks. Okay, let's finish off these eyes with the mascara. Okay, let's finish off this eye look with some mascara from NYX On The Rise. This was one of the drugstore mascaras that made the cut in my mascara video yesterday, after so many of them ended up in the bin. This one I rather like, and actually today it's even performing better, I would say. I've got a nice thick lash and it looks soft and fluffy, which is my preferred lash texture. Okay, there is our mascara with the NYX On The Rise. So onto the lips. I've got a few different options here. I have got this lip pencil from e.l.f. It is a cream glide lip liner in the shade That Merlot though. But I also have a couple of other products here. So I have, from Studio London, I have this Super Boost High Shine Tinted Lip Oil in Blackberry. I also, from Studio London, have this Power Pout 12-Hour Satin Lipstick in Feeling Sassy. That's the shade I have here. And then I also have these 2 lip IVs from NYX, which are hydrating gloss serums, and these are in Hydra Honey and Bubblegum Burst. So again, I'm not really sure which one to go with, so let's swatch some of these and see if that helps our decision. Okay, that's our lip pencil. That is our Blackberry lip oil. That one is Feeling Sassy. That is Bubblegum Burst. And that swatch is Hydra Honey. So I'm tempted, I think we're going to go with the lip liner. And then I really like all three of those lip shades. I wonder if I can somehow figure out a way to actually try them all on. Let's go in with the lip liner first of all, and then we'll try and work our way through the other three. One of the things I like about these e.l.f. Cream Glide, Cream Glide lip pencils is that they are very affordable and they come in a huge range of shades. I've got quite a collection of these and they are very soft. A lot of the time I do cover my whole lip with the lip liner, but I want to be able to see these other shades, so I'm just going to try and ombre that into my lip so that we can still see the other shades that we're going to put on next. Okay, let's start with the lipstick Feeling Sassy. Oh, I rather like it. My lip line is a little bit wonky. I'm trying to learn how to overline my lips, so forgive me if I'm a little bit wonky while I get the hang of it. I think that's a pretty colour actually. I think next up we'll try this NYX IV. This was in Bubblegum. I think this is a compatible shade actually, adding a bit of gloss over the top. And then I'm probably going to wreck the whole thing by using a lip oil, but it's a slightly more blackberry darker shade, so I'm curious to see how this looks. It's really pretty, but as I suspected, I think it's taking the rest of the lip products off, but still very nice and glossy. So there we have it. Here is today's finished look. I promised you a luxury look with drugstore products. So please let me know down in the comments if I have delivered on that promise. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please take a look at my next video here. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to stay curious, and I'll see you next time.